Greetings, it's Friday, March 4th, 2022, and I'm here today to kind of pick up where I left off a couple weeks ago. I was tied up last weekend on a variety of subjects and I just couldn't put it together to do the time. But I wanted to talk today. I've had a lot of people recently in the office or when I meet people, they're asking me questions about Batavian numbers and the population growth and how Batavia's grown in the past and what are the numbers. Interestingly, I found many years ago in an old document, and some former city clerk began keeping it, we have a running total of all these census numbers as issued by the U.S. Federal Census Bureau going back to 1850. And in that year, Batavia was counted to have 1,800 people exactly. Now I'm sure that was maybe the best guess, but that's what they showed. And in 1870 the number had grown to 3,018, and 20 years later in 1890 the number had grown to 3,543. And then jumping ahead 50 years to 1940, the federal census in that year said Batavia's population was 5,101. And then going ahead 10 more years after that, this is right in the years after World War II, and we had a lot of people move back to community, and there were some new industries coming into town, and the population drifted upward then to 7,496. That was in 1960. And then in 1970, the population had grown a pretty good number. It had increased to 8,994. Now I might note that was Fermilab was first announced. It was coming to Batavia December 16th, 1966. And so we started seeing some population increases as a result of that. And then in 1980, we went from 8,994 in 1970 to 12,574, almost a 3,500 person increase in 1980. So that was kind of the real growth year. And then in 1990 our number grew to 17,076 from the 12,574, so that was another healthy growth period. And then in 2000 our number was 23,866. And we're still waiting for the final number to come from the 2020 census. There seems to be some issues resolving around it, and they haven't really given us the actual final number, although I've been told it won't be as big as we think it might be. But I've already talked with the city council that we as a city may want to engage ourselves in a special federal census in which we would pay them to come in, because it is valuable to the city from a tax perspective based on the number of people you have in your community. That's where the local state income tax money comes to be accounted for. And so we think it would be healthy for Batavia to have a good number, because we would then be eligible for more of the state income tax money. So this is a moving target. The numbers I just read to you are ones that have been recorded in the city records. Those are the official numbers. I talk to other people sometimes who think that Batavia was smaller or larger at some date in the past that these numbers reflect. But these are the true numbers that that the U.S. Census Bureau has given to Batavia. Another set of numbers that I find interesting is people ask me, how many multifamily units do we have in Batavia? Well, those numbers are: the Batavia Apartments has 290, Laurelin Apartments has 253, so between those two it's 543 units. Then Green Meadows Apartment out on West Wilson Street has 150, and Lincoln Court has 62, Washington Court has 38, the Revere House has 26, the Morton House has 11, and the Bellevue Place has 14 units within the existing building, not counting the townhouses and condos that surround it. So that's a total for the community of 844 units in multifamily housing. Now I would suggest to you that that's a pretty good number for Batavia to have, because it allows for some diversity of incomes and people who need to have a relative that needs to live in town. And one unit that we haven't counted yet, and that's because it's one that we I think are watching with great interest as we go forward, is the senior living community, and that would include the folks out at Heritage Woods and River Rain and the Windmill Manor and the Landings, and probably most importantly the Homestead and the Batavia Rehabilitation Center on East Fabian Parkway. We've got 6 senior living complexes that are kind of yet another special number, and we're right now, some of those are just in flux, and others are needing to be readjusted based on people dying or moving or coming in. But we've got a nice mixture of multifamily units in Batavia. I've had people tell me that they are looking at Batavia as a place to live because they like the small town atmosphere of it. But one thing that they're most proud of is that the community's commitment to its viability as a good, nice place to live, and that would include the fact that, we have in our community, we have some very special amenities. One, probably the big one, is the quality of the Batavia public school system with 6 elementary schools, a junior high, and a high school. And the quality of the education ranks very high and is something that the community should take great pride in. The Batavia Park District adds its own special touches to our community with the things that they offer and programs they offer and the parks that they've acquired. And certainly the Batavia Library is a big contributor to the quality look of Batavia with their facilities and their programs. And so we're very blessed in this town to have a number of agencies that really are here to promote Batavia at its very best. And that's the reason that I believe that if you talk to new people who are moving into town, why did you move in here? The schools, the parks, the libraries, those are big factors for many people. And then if you throw into it the package that the city government brings to people, and that specifically is, the enforcement of codes so we keep the community hopefully clean and vibrant. And we certainly have a good security program here with the police and the fire and the ambulance programs that we have. Our fire department is rated an Insurance Services Office ISO Class 1, which is the best fire insurance rating that a community can have. And so that should help people keep their fire insurance costs down a little bit. And so we have all those factors coming in. And then the other thing that I think is a factor that we should not discount is the quality of the medical services that are surrounding us. And I know a number of people who have had special blood tests or insertions of chemicals into their bodies by the medical world in the recent past, and certainly the fact that we have, the Delnor campus, the Mercy Center campus, the Copley campus, the Northwestern campus, which is obviously the Delnor campus, but then the Delnor campus over at the DuPage County, there are some very high quality hospital and medical facilities, needless to say, along with the very specialized doctor's offices that we have. I know a number of people who have been very blessed by having the ability to go to those offices and not have to worry about driving because there's only a short distance to any one of them. And so I think that's another strong selling point, because if I talk to the people who right now are very seriously moving in, I would tell you one of the biggest factors I'm seeing is grandparents wanting to move into the town where their grandchildren are located. And that's a very, very popular song that's being sung in Batavia right now. And I've had several home builders in town who have, I believe, are under contract to buy some land. I'm not going to start naming names on that yet because it's not been officially put together. But I know several home builders who are exploring the Batavia real estate market to find locations where they can build what they describe as senior citizen friendly housing for the grandparents to come in and buy the house that puts them real near their grandchildren. And so as you move as a community, there's a variety of housing types in Batavia, and I think that's a strong font that we have, and one that will serve us very, very strongly in the future. The other thing that I think probably offers a lot of strength to Batavia is that we are never going to ever appear to be a real heavily condensed density-filled urbanized community, because immediately to our east bank we have Fermilab, which is 6,800 acres totally off the development rolls. And to the west of us, out around the intersection at Nelson's Lake Road and Main Street, we have the King County Forest Preserve over a long period of time, starting with some strong commitments that the late Phil Elstrom made when he was King County Board Chairman. The Forest Preserves have now acquired 1,641 acres of farmland west of Batavia, most of which is in the Batavia School District and within our fire district and others, to be held for non-buildable properties for recreational uses as a forest preserve and park centers. So we're going to have, I think, some very unique qualities, and that coupled with that we are, kind of equal between the Burlington Station in Aurora and the UP Station in Geneva for commuter trains. And we're also, right south of us is the Illinois Tollway, I-88, with, accesses at Kirk Road and at Route 31 and out on Orchard Road. So Batavia's got a lot of very positive factors going for it. And that's why I think we will continue to see a very steady, not a slow, but a steady growth of new residents moving into Batavia. And I guess the final observation I would make is I've recently had the opportunity there's a gentleman who's working on writing a book about growing up in Batavia, and I don't know exactly when that's going to be published, but he's working very hard on it. And in that book, he tells about moving to Batavia when he was in junior in high school, and about what a nice, friendly town in Batavia appeared to him to be when he was that age, and he came from a very, very large high school, and he got to know everybody in Batavia very quickly, and what a great, grand and friendly and safe place it was to grow up in. And I think that's a trend that still holds here today. I know another friend of mine talks about moving to Batavia when they were in about 8th grade and moved in here from kind of the West Virginia area, and was immediately impressed with the friendliness of the town, and so much so that all these people I'm talking about still are in some form or fashion connected with Batavia today and love being here, and have bought multiple residences during their life here and want to stay. And so, coupled with the old-time Batavians like I am, whose family have been here for 6 generations, we've got a pretty strong community here, a very strong base for the community to build on. And I think from a lot of perspectives, be you a retailer or somebody that's into the church world and wants to be near a strong church, Batavia has all those amenities, again, right at our doorstep. And the beautiful part about it is, with the city services we have, the streets are safe, they are well protected. If you get hurt or you have a fire or an accident, we have all the necessary well-trained people to rise to your occasion. And beyond it all, we have a backbone of this town that is extremely appreciative of each other. We have a very open-minded community, and anybody of any race, religion, color, creed, national origin is more than welcome to live in Batavia, and that's been proven time and time again. And so Batavia, I think, has a lot to be very proud of. And I think on that note, I'm going to end this talk today, because I want this one to be remembered as a talk of the moments and the things that Batavia has to be very, very proud of. And I'm especially proud of all these people, the old-timers who have been here with their families for multi-generations, to the newly arrived people who maybe have moved in here and now their families are here with them. But we make this a very special place on the face of the earth, and all of us in Batavia should be very proud of the job that has been done and continues to be done to make Batavia a place that people want to be. So talk to you next week, and have a good week.